Grace Church, it's Dave Keeping with some news and updates for you. The first bit of information that you need to know is that Jez, Paul and I, the eldership team, have met together recently and feel that it's a really good thing to release Paul and Vicky into a mini season of sabbatical, some time off from Paul's responsibilities as an elder. We're going to review that in February, but probably the immediate question in your mind is, why? What's this all about? Well, firstly, I want to reassure you, there's nothing wrong whatsoever. Paul is just as qualified and just as able to be an elder as when he was called and appointed. But life is super busy for them right now. You may not know this, but Paul and Vicky have had builders in over the last couple of months that have been tearing apart and putting back together the most of the downstairs of their home. More than that, Paul is a police officer, as you'll know, doing night shifts. I struggle to imagine coming home to a building site to try and get a good day's sleep with all of that going on. Add to that the fact that Vicky is a long-standing experienced teacher, but has stepped back in this term to full-time teaching with a class of her own to nurture in a brand new school for her to get used to. And then add on top of that, all the usual life responsibilities, being a husband, being a wife, being a mum, being a dad, looking after Eva and Maya and making sure that the world continues to go round as they know it. Oh, and add to that COVID as well. It's a pretty crazy time. So we've said, Paul, Vicky, take some time out for the next couple of months. We've left it up to them to decide whether they're going to join with us on a Sunday or in the middle of the week. So all in all, you'll be seeing less of them until we review things. The second piece of information that I want to give you is that Jez and I have spoken today about the fact that yes, lockdown in England is finishing on Wednesday, but Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire are heading straight into Tier 3, the highest of the restrictions because the highest level of risk exists around the spread of COVID-19. We went into lockdown, I believe, in Tier 2, we're coming out in Tier 3. Now, although there is permission in the government regulations for places of worship, such as the Grace Church venue, to open up on a Sunday for worship with really stringent rules, we want to balance the benefits of being together and the risk of what that might bring. And so at least until the tiers are reviewed again in a fortnight, we're going to say that things will continue as they have been over the last 4 weeks, online only. I want to thank so many of you that have volunteered to be a stewarding team for when we eventually open up again. And over the next 2 weeks, we will be sending you a video walkthrough and some instructions about what you need to do and what you need to be aware of when we open so that we can be absolutely ready to do that when the time's right. But Jez and I feel that the time is not right now, and we're going to wait until we hear what the government review is of our local area in a fortnight. The third bit of news that I want to bring to you is super quick. It's just to say that on Thursday evening, the 3rd of December at 7 p.m, we've been invited to take part as a church in a citywide prayer meeting hosted by Saltbucks and City Vision Ministries, an opportunity for Christians from whatever church denomination or stream to come together online to seek the Lord and pray together. So I've sent you a Zoom link in order for you to get on board and get into that meeting. Let's have as many of us as possible come together Thursday, 7 p.m, the 3rd of December. The fourth bit of news that I have to bring to you, hopefully will be really encouraging, and that is that we are still going ahead with our carol service. We're going to move it to the slightly later date of the 20th, Sunday the 20th of December at 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. We're probably going to broadcast that simultaneously on Facebook and our YouTube channel so that as many people as possible can find us, can access that and can enjoy our carol service together. But just in case you've got friends and family that are saying, oh, I love Grace Church's what is now annual carol service, are they doing it this year? We absolutely are. Sunday the 20th of December at 5 p.m. I've forgotten to talk about the Advent Challenge. Paul Nixon and Jeremy Chalmers have worked super hard to put together an interactive, fancy, wonderful Advent calendar. The only thing that is missing is chocolate. You'll have to provide that yourself. The PDF that will be attached to the email you're receiving from me with all of these goodies on, click on the number relating to the day it is, and it will immediately take you to something to either watch, to read, to reflect on, to pray about, or something to do. So look out for this wonderful Advent challenge, the Advent calendar designed by Paul and Jez. The final bit of information that I have for you today is probably the most significant in terms of how it might impact on you. In January, we're going to mix things up a bit when it comes to our community groups, our small group life together. Now, small groups, our community groups at Grace Church, they exist for three main reasons. The first is that they're brilliant places to build friendships together, to actually share life together and find out what's happening with one another, to have some fun together, to support each other when we're going through tough times. The second thing that we do in community groups is they're brilliant places to bring out questions. Whether that's unpacking what on earth Dave said on Sunday, or simply working out this situation's happening in life right now. What does the Bible say about that? How am I meant to approach that particular issue from a Christian perspective? So, place to build friendships and to bring our questions. But the third really significant issue, need, opportunity that we have within our community group lives is to be on mission together. Now, the reality is that not all of the church are in our community groups, and the community groups that do exist have probably been the most static than they ever have been over the last 3 to 4 years. It's hard for new people to join community groups that are so familiar and embedded, and actually we don't think it would be a bad thing, particularly as we come to Christmas and we think about how Jesus inconvenienced and put himself through the ultimate discomfort to come and be on mission and to rescue us. For us to model some of that by just shaking up the mix of community groups. We're going to be shaking up the leaders as well, but that's not for any other reason than life circumstances right now mean that that's a good idea to do. We're going to be saying thank you, perhaps just for a season, to Tom and Sarah Hopes. With all that life has for them at the moment, they're going to step back from leading a group. We're going to say thank you to Nathan and Rachel Ainscoe, again, with all that life is happening with them at the moment, and also recognising their significant responsibility as trustees. And we're also going to say thank you to who I think will be our longest standing community group leaders, which is Tony and Maxine, who have worked tirelessly to gather their community group since I was a student. They've been working super hard. We haven't done the best of jobs as an eldership team in raising up new leaders, and I want to repent and apologise for that. We're going to give it some attention in 2021. But that means to enable these people to step back, Jez, Paul and I are going to be stepping up into the role of community group leaders just for a season, just while we identify who new group leaders might be to take on and hopefully grow the number of groups that we have in the church. We're going to be doing something very different in that we're going to be recommending to you where we think you would fit best. We're going to take into account geography so that one day when we're allowed to meet in homes again, it still works. It's not miles and miles away that you would need to travel. We also want to make sure that there is a mix of giftings and Christian maturity, so people that have been Christians for a long, long time and Christians that are relatively new. We also want to try and make sure that there's a mix of ages as well. We don't want just to have a student group or older people's group or a family group or a singles group. Actually, we're called to be the body of Christ, the family of God. And we believe that the Bible teaches church works best when we're all mixed together and doing life together. The other thing that might change, therefore, is that groups don't have to take place of an evening. It may be that the makeup of your new group, which hopefully you will be fully up for joining and getting to know new people, because that's the other thing. We want to make space for lots of new people to join that aren't in groups at the moment. It might be that it's better for you to agree to get together on a Saturday morning or Sunday lunchtime after the morning meeting, obviously initially via Zoom or maybe once it's allowed in outside spaces, but we don't have to be so rigidly locked into the model of when we meet and how we meet as we had been before. So that is the news in terms of community groups. I hope you can understand some of our rationale in that. we feel like shaking things up for the sake of the mission is a good idea. And also, we're all then in the same boat, aren't we? We're all experiencing something new together. And as well, reminding ourselves that discomfort is an okay part of Christian mission. We would love it that every 6, 12, 24 months, groups are multiplying and becoming 2, 3 new ones with new people to get to know, because we're growing and seeing new people getting saved and added to the church. So this has been like a 10-minute news and update video. Thank you so much for your time. If you've got any questions, get in contact with me. You can reach me on email at davidk@gracechurchstoke.org. God bless you. We'll speak to you real soon.